Hello everyone, thank you for joining me. Welcome to day 11 of my 12 days of Crafty Christmas. Today I'm going to be creating a card with the stamp set Christmas Classics. I'm going to be using the Deck the Halls sentiment and this sort of sprig here. I have already stamped, coloured and fussy cut some holly leaves, which I've got in a dish just here, and I've stamped some berries and fussy cut those as well so that they are ready to go. I'm going to start off by cutting my card base. So my card base is going to be basic white, just a standard sized card base. So just going to trim it down, so half a sheet of A4 scored at 10.5 centimetres. While I've got my basic white to hand, I'm also going to punch out a 2 3/8 of an inch circle, like so, and then I'm going to be using some designer series paper, and this is from the Joy of Christmas paper pack, and I'm going to be using this sort of red check pattern. I'm going to trim a strip down to 10.5 centimetres, so the same width as our card, and then I'm going to decide how far up the card I want my paper to come. I think probably maybe a little bit below there, about there. So I'm going to trim it down to about 8.5 centimetres. There's that. Move my trimmer out of the way. So I am also going to be using a piece of shaded spruce cardstock. So I've cut a strip that is 3/4 of an inch wide, and I'm going to be using the Geometric Patterns embossing folder, and I'm going to emboss my shaded spruce cardstock with the stripes, kind of diagonal stripes. So I'm just going to bring in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss tool. Ooh. Now this embossing folder would fit through the mini, but my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine is in the house, and I am in my little crafty corner. So I'm going to put down my plate 1, a plate 3, make sure that's nice and lined up, and then I'm going to offset my plates, and then I'm going to run that through, and hopefully it won't be too wobbly for you. So I'm just going to run that through the machine, and then we will have this really fun textured piece of card. Okay, let's move my machine out of the way. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to bring my elements in. So I am going to start off by, I'm going to stamp some sprigs. So I'm going to use shaded spruce ink, and then I'm going to, let's bring that in so you can see. There you go. So I'm inking up that sprig stamp. I'm kind of measuring where my designer series paper is going to come to, and I'm using the central line on my grid paper just to kind of keep in mind where that's going to come to, because some of my stamping is going to come a little bit below that line. So I'm going to stamp there, and then another one, okay, I think I'm happy with that. So part of that sprig will get covered up. Then we're going to put our stripy green bit over the edge, and then we'll stamp our sentiment. That panel is going to go there. Okay, so I'm going to stamp my sentiment while my ink is open. So the Deck the Halls, again in that shaded spruce. And stamp it over to the right hand side because I'm going to add some of that holly to the left hand side. So I want to leave space for that without then having my sentiment covered over with my holly leaves. Just give my fingers a little bit of a wipe before I get green ink everywhere. Okay, so I'm going to start putting my card together. So I'm going to pop my Joy of Christmas paper. Ooh. That Tombow does not want to come out. There we go. It's getting near the end of the bottle, so it's a little bit slow, and I made the mistake of not putting it in the jar on my desk, so it had been sitting on its flat bottom, so all of the glue has run down the bottle into the bottom. It just took a moment to get going. Okay, and then our piece of cardstock, I'm going to stick that down and then I will trim it off. And I'm going to stick that with glue as well, just with the liquid glue. I'm going to kind of guess how far across my card it's going to come, and I can always squidge a bit more glue in underneath if I need to. And then just being careful to line that up across my card. And then I will turn it upside down, grab my scissors and just trim off that excess, like so. Then my Deck the Halls I'm going to pop up on some dimensionals, but first I'm going to put it together with my holly leaves. So I'm aiming to put my circle about there, so then I don't know if I want them on the front or if I'm going to tuck behind, maybe a little bit of both. I think I'm going to do a little bit of both and have a couple tucked underneath and then one over the top like that, and then I'm going to put some berries on after. Okay, so I'm going to pop my sentiment circle up on some dimensionals. And I'm just going to be a little bit careful with my placement so that they're not going to get in the way when I want to tuck those holly leaves behind it. So I'm putting my dimensionals kind of off to one side, and then I'm going to stick this down onto my card. One, okay, and then so I want to make sure that I've got some of that green showing. Make sure our sentiment's nice and straight. There we go. And then I'm going to put a little bit of liquid glue on my holly leaves. Let's give that a little squidge to press it down. So these I have stamped in Memento Tuxedo Black ink, and then I've coloured them with Mossy Meadow. I used the light and then added a little bit of dark for a bit of shading as well, and then think I want to pop that up. Yeah, I think I'm going to pop that up on a dimensional. There we go. So I want to kind of position it so that it's not kind of directly over the one behind, but also so that the angle kind of looks okay. So I'm thinking about like that. There we go. And then I just need to add some of my berries. So just gonna dot on a little bit of glue and then just drop my little berries over the top. And I think actually I'm just going to trim off. There we go. Shimmy that one up a little bit and then I can fit a third one on. There we go. And then you could add a little bit of sparkle if you wanted to, maybe a little bit of ribbon, but I think that that looks just lovely as it is. So there we go. That's it for today. That's our card for day 11. I do hope that you will come back and join me for tomorrow, the final day of our 12 days of Crafty Christmas. Thanks so much for joining me. Take care. Bye bye.